Hey, what's up, La Familia, you crazy football-loving nutters? This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex, two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross goes He's done it again. Taylor wells it for Victor Ulloa. It's one up. Ulloa and Taylor. Job done for Inter Miami. Landed in by Mota. 6. It's 2 for Miami. Damian Lowe doubles the lead. Sometimes you can just sense something wicked this way it comes.
Oh, buddy, I can smell it. I can smell that playoff line. We are so close, just touching it, just on the outside, just touching it. Tied with some teams in there, man. But feels good. Wasn't pretty. We'll get into it, but man, feels good to come off a nice little 3-point grab to get us right back into where we need to be before we start knocking down the doors of some pretty serious competition in the East. But how you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm kind of excited. I'm trying to keep tempered excitement over here because every time you and I talk about this fabled playoff line and getting over the hump, we tend to take 3 steps back. So,
do we just jinx
definitely
this?
Getting more excited. Yeah, we just jinxed it. Then the fans are going to hate us. And then in 3 weeks' time, when we get closer, we're going to do it again and again. And they won't allow us to drive pink or anywhere in Miami related.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing count. This feels like the 3rd time, if I'm not mistaken, where it's like, man, these 3 points would be absolutely massive. So let's see. 3rd time's a charm, right? We'll see if we can capitalize on it. Who's going to play striker? We're going to find out here, I guess, pretty soon. Good news, though, is we're getting a lot of games, which is always nice. I do like the midweek games. They're a nice little pick-me-up. Anything to just get us to EPL and, Bundesliga, La Liga, Ligue 1, Serie A, all the high-level football is about to kick off. So, we're about to be back to our inundated ways. And then, of course, we'll just stumble our way into the World Cup. So it's going to be a good end of the year. Look forward to it. Also, I would have to assume that we're not going to push back the start of the 2023 MLS season, since we're kind of already off tilt to try and adjust for the World Cup. So really could be a pretty short break here and just non-stop footy, which is what we love here on the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kington, joined by Mr. Than Harrington. I already asked you how you're doing, so I'm not going to do it twice, buddy. Let's just get right into it, man. There was some news that came out today, man. So let me take a step back, actually. Sorry. Don't mean to steal anyone's thunder here. Today, by the time you hear this, it's going to be closed. But this is the last day of the summer transfer window for MLS. There's been some moves happening. There's been some, interesting moves happening for sure. Some teams have made some pretty solid acquisitions. But, we focus here on Inter Miami. And I was hoping, the people were chirping that there was going to be an acquisition, maybe 2, before this day's over. We have not seen anything come through yet. We're honestly hoping that we'll be able to get on here, not only discuss a win, but talk about a potential new signing. But, that hasn't happened yet. But we did have a departure for a little bit of that Tam money, or allocation money rather. And go ahead and kind of break down what the situation is here, bud.
Yeah, so, for me, it's kind of a puzzling move, not on our end, but on the New England Revolution picked up Clement Diop, and they gave us $125K in the 2023 allocation monies. Not quite sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, we'll take the cash here. But the Revs now would have 5 goalkeepers on their roster.
Yeah, so it's funny because people question we have Diop and Marsman on our bench as we start Drake. why have 3 keepers? I mean, I could argue that either way, but like, do you really need 5? Like,
No,
their roster's not that big.
No, I mean, and they have Petrovic, who's doing pretty well for him. Not great, but pretty well. And, he's coming into his own. You have Edwards, Knighton, Jackson, and then Diop, ideally, is going to be the 5th of 5. So,
right.
Hey, whatever. Give us that money. Let's call it.
Do you think this is more of a play because they lost Matt Turner? I don't want to say lost Matt Turner. Right? They sold him to Arsenal and made some good money off him. They sold like Tejan Buchanan. They've had a pretty good year or so of being able to sell some players. But do you feel like this is just kind of like an ultra safety net? Like now we have 5. We're going to definitely be able to find who our starter is, who our guy moving forward is, or is this just like absolute redundancy?
It very well could be a safety net, because I do believe I saw today that the Revs are going to launch into the MLS Next Pro next season. I know there was 5 teams that came out and said they had teams going towards that. So that could be a MLS level backup to some of the players who maybe you want to send down to the pro to get more experience. I don't know. I could see it either way, honestly.
It just feels strange because like Diop wasn't bad when he's starting for Montreal, and now he's gone really to remind me to the bench. And I played a half of a game against Barcelona. Someone I forgot who shared the picture. Someone shared a picture as a goodbye. It might have been the club, honestly. And he was like, I don't know if they photoshopped him onto man of the match in an Inter Miami jersey, because I don't remember any game he played where he was man of the match, unless it was like maybe preseason or something like that. But yeah, just kind of giving a little bit more of a breakdown here. And I was wanting to do this deep dive, but obviously, we do a real job, so we can't always do the deep dives. But shout out to our boy Ian Hess from the Heron Outlet. He did do the deep dive before I could get to it, so I do appreciate that, buddy. But he did like a 2023 allocation money update, and as far as like money out, we spent $75K for Pozuelo and $50K for Lassiter. Now we got in $500K for Morgan and $250K for Carranza, as well as this $125 for Diop. I'm going to stop myself there before continuing on, because Charlotte did trade McCoon, who we traded for the number 1 allocation ranking spot. And this was in order to actually land Yedlin. And we traded for him, and I think it was like, 50,000, 60,000 in general allocation money for the McCoon trade. So we'd have to add that in there as well. So add an additional in of $60K for Christian McCoon. So overall, like net GAM wise, 750. Sanctions are still 1,135,625. So total 2023 TAM is looking about 2,720,000. Add the 60,000 on for McCoon, you're looking about 2,780. There's the math I'm looking for. 780,000. As far as allocation monies go. So bringing in some money here, which is interesting. Still no additional signings, but I'm assuming these moves will help alleviate some of the pain as far as the second year of sanctions go. But thank you to Ian for doing that breakdown. So I didn't really have to. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, Ian's one of the best. That's obviously not ourselves here, but shout out to Ian, great work on that. And it's cool to see that the organization is positioning us to be in a decent spot come year 2. Obviously, way better off coming off of what was supposed to be a down year this year. We're obviously in a better spot than we thought we were going to be. So it only kind of springboards us up, at least financially, into next year. So it could be critical.
Yeah, sorry. So let me rephrase that, because man, he did a deeper dive. So 2,780,000 is what it's going to come out to in 2023 TAM. That's still plus the general allocation money, right? There's target allocation money, general allocation money. So the current 2023 TAM is 2,300,000. We'll say 94,000, basically right around there, or 940,000 rather. I know I'm losing all of it. 394,000 plus the game, which is about 1.625 million. Holy hell, that's a lot of numbers. I'm trying to like fathom all this stuff, but the plays will probably come on the off season because we're not going to get much done with this window unless we get some breaking news while we're actually recording this podcast. But that's really the only breaking news. And we did play 2 games. We did decide to record tonight so we can include both games. And we'll just kind of start off with the 4-4 draw against Cinci. Bud, you want to take us away here and kind of give us a quick breakdown of this?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to say the least. And honestly, it was a day of crazy amounts of goals in the MLS, which we will talk about later. Gonzalo, who are you? First half hat trick, man. Like, including what was probably one of the better free kick goals we have seen an Inter Miami player score. I mean, that thing was a thing of beauty. What'd you think of that first half, though?
Like really happy, but also really disappointed, right? Because I mean, obviously we'll get into a little bit of a breakdown on this once we kind of recap this, but it feels like it's been forever. And honestly, like, to be fair, it had been a pretty damn long time since we were able to score in the first half. So just to go ahead and get that first goal, which was off a beautiful free kick, which was just an absolute rocket. It looked like the camera glitched out. Just to score in the first half, man. I was super, super excited for that. Then he has some nice footwork in the box, beats the keeper, defender, and the keeper kind of get tangled up, if you will. So both of them fall over, rockets with the left foot into the goal. And then a weird kind of series of play, decided to be called back for a penalty. He goes ahead and gets his hat trick off a penalty. We're talking 23rd minute, 37th minute, and 45th minute. That sounds spectacular. And up to after that 23rd minute, like, everyone was really excited. It's good to see him getting his chance. I think going back to what was it? Probably the Philadelphia game, I think it was, when I was asked, like, this was like, of course, at Dry Pink, I was like, we need to get Gonzalo in here. Campana looked to be shaken up, just wasn't really effective. Everyone thought I was crazy. Comes on and scores. Boom. I'm like, all right, cool. Give him more chances. They still think I'm crazy for this. Comes into the Charlotte game. Boom. Scores a goal. Kind of a driving factor in us actually getting the comeback win on Charlotte. And I'm just like, hey, keep the hot hand running. And then boom. Obviously we went to New York City. No one scored in that game, right? We lose that 2-0, but then coming to this and just to see Gonzalo get 3, it was great. You felt great for him. Like, you could tell he was happy, right? Like, he was bouncing around. I think you saw the pictures probably of them traveling over to San Jose and also in training before traveling. And you could just tell that he was like much happier. And, you share your thoughts on this as well, but like, I just think that Pozuelo being here elevates the team so much. And Gonzalo, let's not forget, the amazing season he had, right? Top scorer, tons of assists for us last season. But he's never been able to get the service that he's used to, like Champions League quality service, like top teams in Europe quality service. Obviously you come to the MLS, we're not that. And that's putting it nicely. So a lot of that frustration, I think, is what a lot of people have been complaining about. But now that Pozuelo's here, like, Pozuelo had some amazing passes in that Cincinnati game, just cutting the defense apart. And I think that, like, it's tough, man. It's tough. And we'll get into, what happened in the San Jose game with the strikers. But let's just act like, that game hasn't been played and we're here post-game Cincinnati. Like, it's tough to remove your striker with a hot hand, right? That's my thought. I think you got to keep it rolling.
You got to keep riding with it.
Yeah, right. And so that's kind of what we see. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question. Happy for that. What was very upsetting, unsettling, and just brought me right back to 2020 and 2021 is, man, we went up 3 times in this game. And we conceded not too long after. We should have won this game, and we did not. And we haven't even discussed McVay's goal at the very last minute, right? So Gonzalo scores the 23rd minute, Brenner scores the 28th. Gonzalo scores the 37th, Brenner scores the 40th. Gonzalo scores the 45th minute, in the first half. And then Vasquez, we go to the second half. Then Vasquez scores in the 81st minute and 86th minute to just sneak up 4-3 at the very end of the game. Very disheartening. You could feel the energy just kind of sucked out. But again, I mean, what does this team do best? We score late in the games. McVay with a phenomenal goal, just absolute ripper off the left foot, bang it off the crossbar. I mean, beautiful, beautiful goal. Energy brought back up in the stadium. Everyone was excited, right? Because at least we brought it back for a point. But, I think when I rewatched the game, I agree with, I can't remember, I think it's probably like Andreas Cordero said it, but it felt much more like we let 2 points go away than salvaged a point. And that's kind of how I felt. Like, happy, good for Gonzalo. I want to see that continue to progress. I want to see those results be continuous for him because he's so much talent. One of the most talented people in the league. It's the attitude, it's the effort problem. But, man, it just – bad memories, bad memories of previous seasons. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to talk about the goal that wasn't because, Robbie Taylor putting that back heel towards Pozuelo, and I thought Pozuelo opened up that bank account.
Yeah,
I was sitting on the edge of the couch, and I immediately shot up, like I was fist pumping in the air, like that was going to be a tough one for the MLS to decide between Higuain's goal, Taylor's assist to the goal, and then obviously maybe we didn't need McVay's goal, but if they scored all three, they might have been tough for folks to decide goal of the week.
Yeah, that was a beautiful moment. That was right in front of the supporter stands too. That was, oh man, I wish that one would have gone.
Like, I'm actually getting cold chills just thinking about that pass. That's how much I love this game. Like just a simple pass like that. Like, I like those passes more than the goal sometimes. Heel. Yeah. But, it's kind of funny how as the back and forth was going on, I was thinking back to our conversation last episode about who would you take on the team from Cincinnati. And you kind of laughed at me a little bit for Brenner, but then Brenner was the one who I chose, like I said, and he was the one that was sticking the dagger to us early on. And it seemed like we finally decided we were going to play up on him. And then here comes second head of the three-headed monster. Like, I think it was Luciano had the 2 assists to. Yeah. He had the 2 assists to.
That one ball into Brenner was filthy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I sat there and I was like, well, nothing you can do about that one there.
If it makes you feel any better, I would revert my answer and agree with you on Brenner given the results of the next game we're going to discuss. But
yeah. But McVay, sir, you have no right. You have no right to hit that. Like, bar down ski, like blast off. Like it looked like a SpaceX rocket taking off. Like it was. At first, I'm going to be honest with you. When he hit it, I thought he skied it. I was like, well, that's it. Yeah. And then I saw the ball crack back down off the crossbar. I was like, oh, we pulled it out. We pulled it out again.
Dude, when it happened, I thought it was Robbie Taylor. Like, I did not realize it was McVay. Like, it's like, we've seen Robbie do these amazing things. And so I was like, holy shit, Robbie. And like, no, dude, that's McVay. I was like, wow. Like, that's even more impressive. What's even more impressive than that is I saw today MLS shared, like, best goals of July. And I think Inter Miami was leading, and they showed 3 different goals. And that didn't even include Gonzalo's free kick, which won goal of the week. Like, we legit had 4 of the top goals in the MLS that month. It was a pretty good I'm not going to say it's a pretty good month because we definitely could have picked up more points, but a good ending to the month, at least to get the spirits up.
You mean a good ending to the gauntlet that could have left us battered and bruised and bloodied on the floor thinking about next season? Because, we could have been there too. It's
Gauntlet 2.0 coming here in August. But yeah, man, I mean, we didn't give up, which was good. Phil was obviously very disappointed because, again, it's like we let this game get away. Still having inconsistent backlines. Like, there are moments of brilliance where we look to have a very solid defense, and then moments where the backline just kind of falls apart. But hey, then we move on. We'll take the 1 point, and we know that we're going against San Jose coming. We just played them rather, but we knew going into that, right? Like, worst team in the West. Like, this was probably the easiest game that we're going to play in this 2 month span, and this was basically a must win. we had to get these points. You were probably watching the games just like I was leading up to the Inter Miami game, and Charlotte ended up getting a win out as well. So, we basically had to win. We basically had to win this game, and it wasn't really pretty by any means. I'm not gonna steal your thunder here, but a lot of chuckles, a lot of what the hell, a lot of this could have been really like not even like, as the youngins say, no cap, right? Like not even exaggerating. This could have been like a 6-0 victory, but we come out on top 1-0. And let's just kind of break this down. So tell us how we came out. What kind of formation were we in? Let them know about the starting lineup as well.
All right, so we came out in a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, no question, Drake in net. We had Gibbs, Lowe, McVeigh, and Yedlin backline. Mota and Gregory lined up next to each other with Pozuelo, Higuain in the middle, our boy, Robbie Taylor, and that god of a man that you love so much, Campana, up top. I actually really like the lineup. It signaled intent. And I don't think the Inter Miami, when we put out lineups, we signal what we're going to do. This was okay, we're coming for what we need to get.
Yeah.
We're going to come out, and there's no question what we're doing. We are going to send everything at this game and try to get all 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose, sorry, I think I said sits at the bottom of the East or the West. They don't. So right now Kansas City is at the bottom, but San Jose is right above them in 13th place. But 46 goals on the season. Only team with more than that, or goals against rather. Only team with more than that is DC United. So I think Phil saw like, hey, this defense is kind of trash. We just got to load up heavy on offense. I was a little nervous because like if one of them goes down, which we did see, Campana get injured, it's like, well, you're asking Gonzalo to go a full 90 minutes with intensity, and then Coco was also injured with like an abductor injury or whatever. So we didn't really have another backup option as striker. So part of me was like, no, this is kind of irresponsible. But part of me was like, yeah, let's bring both Campana and Higuain up top, or at least in the attack, because this is really the first time they've played together since Campana has blown up, right? Like there were a few games earlier in the season where we played two up top, but really like nothing of notoriety. I don't think we won any games when they both played. So then, of course, we started going with Campana. He obviously scored his 8 goals and became kind of a fan favorite around here, but we haven't really seen them play together, right? Gonzalo came in and was scoring these goals because Campana was dealing with an injury. So part of me was also like, I want to see both of them. So I was kind of like split, but then of course, Campana goes down with a little bit of injury, and you're asking a lot from Gonzalo, and we don't really have any strikers. And, I guess at the time I was like, yo, just bring in Emerson. Like this is Emerson's moment, right? Throw him as striker, set him free. He doesn't have to find anyone else. Just like, your only goal is to score. You don't have to be on the wings and look for a cross or look for a good pass. Like, put him in there. Oh, man. Was that not the right idea? I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Sorry. Go ahead and break down, I guess, the only goal of this game, which happened, again, pretty early on.
I mean, it's the one we've all been clamoring for. This is the shot, the man, the distance, like everything. It lined right up. Like if we could brand one goal of the season so far as the Inter Miami podcast goal, this is what we've all been screaming for here.
I've proclaimed all caps. Tonight is Mota's night. It's gotta be. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah. But first, before we get to the goal, I do want to point out, leading up to this goal, Robbie Taylor, once again, was turning defenders inside out like he was in the washing machine, just moving stuff. Just oh man, he was absolutely moving down that left side. The ball got crossed in, cleared out of the box by a San Jose defender. Mota settles the ball. I think it was chest down to grass, and then he just hits it. And it gives it such a beautiful curl. Like it's going towards the keeper and out, and it hits that upper 90 in a perfect spot where I don't even think the top keepers in the world would be able to get to that ball from where the the San Jose goalkeeper's positioning was.
Yeah.
Mota absolutely blasted it.
It was like the same
90,
trajectory as like Gonzalo's free kick.
With a wicked whip.
Yeah. But like it was perfect for him because like he's left-footed, so he was just hitting with the outside of his left, getting that bend down end as well. It was gorgeous. Is it worth the 40 other attempts he's missed?
It might be. I mean, I don't know. We'll move on from that. The one thing I'm going to criticize him on, that goal deserved a better celebration. Like it was kind of like he looked, he ran, he's like, oh wait, I scored that.
Yeah.
Oh, like he's waiting for like Gonzalo to like grab him by the back of the collar and drag him back down the field. It
was probably relief. It was probably more relief. Like finally, I pulled it off. Like if he hit that like the first 3 games, he's probably running around like a maniac.
I think he siphoned all of Emerson's energy, at least for this goal, and then that's kind of why we saw what we saw in the second half there. But good on you, Mota. Congrats on the goal. Absolutely beautiful. I know just by the look on your face that you're dying to talk about Mr. Emerson Rhino Rodriguez in the box here. So
that just kind of came out of nowhere, by the way. The Rhino thing.
And I'm gonna say I love Emerson. Like I like watching him play. I like his work great. But I'm gonna let you talk about it before I say something.
Yeah. I wasn't mad. I was just like embarrassed. Like I was like, I felt bad for him. But before we do that, like let's kind of break down. So Campana goes down with a hamstring injury in the first half, right? So Campana was obviously playing striker with Gonzalo as the cam, Pozuelo on his left, and Robbie Taylor on the right. So Lassiter comes on. Higuain rotates up to the 9. Pozuelo rotates into the middle to play the cam. Robbie switches sides to go to the left wing so Ari can take the right wing. Was not disappointed with Emerson, but was pretty disappointed with Lassiter. I know he's coming off an injury and there's a lot of rust, but his touches are just so just poor, like too strong. He's got to get that feel back, and that will hopefully come with time because he was in really good form before he got injured. But that was a little frustrating. And then there's this moment in the second half where they try and sub off Lassiter, which obviously you could tell that Phil wasn't happy, right? Because you never want to be subbed onto a game and subbed off a game, but he was gonna do that. But before we get to the Emerson thing, the 56-minute pass, goal kick from Callender to Lassiter, which Lassiter fumbled with a heavy touch and could not even really get a decent shot off, was the most, and I hate to even give Man City any credit, but the most Ederson thing I've seen. Everyone's talked about Drake's distribution. This was one of the most beautiful balls, just straight out of the bag to a breakaway Yedlin. Should have been a goal. An amazing, just piece of play by Drake. Now he did, shortly after that, kind of a, freebie kick out of bounds. But I just want to highlight that because people have been very critical on his distribution, but we just got a glimpse of like phenomenal goalkeeper play there. Following that, before we get to the Emerson thing, because I was taking some notes of areas of focus during the game. Yedlin gets a yellow, right, and it looked like he was going to be suspended for the Montreal game. That would have been his 5th, right? But he also went 5 games without a yellow, and per MLS rules, if you go 5 games without a yellow, you get to scratch a yellow off. So instead, he's at 4, and he's actually available for Montreal. So very interesting. Really happy to hear that. Obviously, we're going to need all the help we can get up in Montreal. Remember, Campana is injured. In the second half, Gonzalo gets hit in the jaw. Now he's injured. He's getting x-rays. We don't know the extent of that. He was definitely a little dazed. So we were left kind of worst case without a striker. And I was like, you know what? Just give Emerson a shot. So here we go. Emerson comes on. I joked, I was like, I can't wait to watch Emerson run around like a rhino. He runs like a rhino, and then once he gets into the box, he turns into like a baby giraffe, just like a clumsy little giraffe. And I feel bad for him because he's so fast. He's so athletically talented, and he can beat anybody. But then he just can't. I'm not going to say he can't finish because I believe he can finish. I just think he's struggling with his nerves and settling down right now, and there were so many breakaway counterattacks where he had the ball and he got it real close and just couldn't get a shot off, couldn't get a good shot off. And it's definitely concerning. I joked that he's going to need more time to develop than we all thought. He's definitely still a contender for 2027 MVP. If he can get it all together, dude, he is so lightning fast and can break anyone that like he literally could have had a hat trick in this game. Conservatively, he could have had 4, honestly, like so many chances, but just lacking that composure in the end, man. And obviously, how our fans be. Our fans get really, really toxic or judgmental or can turn on you. A lot of hate on Emerson today. A lot of hate. But again, I'm not mad at him. A little embarrassed, feel bad for him. Just some areas to work on. But like you can see the explosiveness. You could see what kind of caliber player this young man could eventually turn into.
I'm going to be honest. For me, it was like watching so Riley's team is just starting to get together, right? They've all played on separate teams. Their first time playing travel ball together, and they're working the ball around. The passing's beautiful and all that, and then they get in front of this 20 by whatever net, large net. They've been shooting on the pop-up ones the whole entire time, and it's so big they don't know what to do, so they're just shank every shot. And I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, my son has the same shooting abilities as Emerson Rodriguez. That's really good in one way, but that's really terrible in another." And I don't know. Like I do feel for Emerson. Like I really like Emerson. I think he's got a lot of talent. Like we've talked about 1,000 times. I just hope they develop him the right way. And the display he put out there, I don't know. I'm getting a little nervous, and I know. I'm not trying to go down the toxic road. I'm really not. But it's like, oh, come on. Like it's like I kind of want to like have him like pull the mask off and realize it's Robbie Robinson, not actually Emerson Rodriguez out there running around. But I don't know. I'm just really hoping that he breaks free and maybe can get back towards scoring that one like he did a couple weeks ago instead of struggling like he did last night.
So do you remember that the episode after that game said is Emerson scoring a goal? Is this a good or bad thing? Like, does this go to his head? And he's just like, I can take on the world. And I don't really want to give an answer to that, but like, I could definitely see how maybe that has impacted him to just, I'm going to take on the world. I don't need anybody else. And I'm going to go. And it's definitely going to take some time. We're now down Campana. We're now down Higuain. So I don't think Sean Hundle or Warden traveled with the team. So they're probably going to have to fly Hundle out there because we're going to need some sort of a striker. Otherwise, we're just left with either Lassiter, Indy Vassilev, or going with Emerson for more minutes than we probably should. So Coco Jean, who knows when his abductor strain is going to be resolved. It's just like right when good happens, just bad happens, and we get hurt in other areas.
Let's just put Kieran Gibbs up top. We saw the shot that he had against New York City, or
Jovan Jones.
Or let's just put McVay up top. Let's just do it. he hit that screamer. Let's just do it, and then play 3 at the back because we know that tends to go real well for us. So
this can be an interesting game against Montreal, who's sitting third in the East right now, man. And pretty damn good squad we're going out there. Before we get into that, have a breakdown I want to do, but let's kind of wrap this up. Go ahead and bring us through the statistics of the San Jose game that could have been a 9-0 win.
And looking back at the stats, I didn't realize, and I don't want to get a little too ahead of myself, I didn't realize they had 22 shots. So it could have also been a little bit the other way if our defense had not shown up. But this is the Inter Miami stats versus San Jose from MLS.com. So Inter Miami to San Jose, 38.2% possession to 61.8. Shots 11-12. Shots on goal 6-5. Passes 339 to 534. Corners 7-13. Saves 5-4. The one that we always care about, and I always say it, fouls 13-3, with one yellow card to us and no red cards.
Man. Yeah, I felt like the pro refs suck. I'm just gonna say it. I really don't like pro refs. Like MLS needs to get their own shit together. It's kind of pathetic. Well, the inconsistencies is just wild. Like you watch the Orlando game where they dive and everything's a foul, then like we're getting fouled and nothing's being called. And like it's fair. Like it's going both ways. Like we were rough, they were rough, but like the inconsistencies are crazy.
I do want to point out though, and we should have brought this up during the Cincinnati recap. That ref we had, while she did get in the way a few times, and it wasn't really her fault, but she was probably the best ref we had in terms of fairness both ways all year.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the fans were pissed about her. I mean, surprise, surprise, they're pissed about everything. But she was arguably the most fair and balanced ref, and when she made a mistake, she said, I made the mistake. She didn't just dismiss them. Like too many of the refs are quick to just put a hand in the face and walk off. Like she's at least out there trying to explain. Gonzalo was talking to her and you could tell he was heated. She said something, he said something, she said something, and he looked at her like, okay, I understand, and walked away. So to your point, yes, pro referees blow, but I think the one we just most recently had was the best one we'll see all year.
I agree. I mean, overall, like we created a fair number of chances as well. Like, 11 shots, 6 on target. We just really kind of struggled to finish. I mean, that was really the biggest takeaway from this game is just not being able to finish. Once Campana went off, like we were playing really well like this first 15 minutes. Once Campana went off, kind of everything changed. We rotated around a little bit in the formation, and momentum just died off. But I mean, counterattacks were great if we could have finished them, stuff of that. And I mean, yeah, it's just tough. But look, we're getting better. Like the more and more Pozuelo can get in and gets really settled with this team is going to be better. And he's starting to already kind of get over the I'm the new teammate phase, and he's starting to be like kind of demand the ball more, want to be more of the integral guy and go-to guy on the offense, which is great. But yeah, it's strange, right? 'Cause again, it felt like forever that we hadn't had early goals, and then we go to the Cincinnati game, we get a hat trick in the first half. In this game, we score in the first 12 minutes. Coincidentally, this was the earliest goal we've scored all season was this 12-minute goal by Juan Mota. So I was, did find a little bit of time this afternoon, was doing a little bit of it.
Whoa. When did Juan Mota sign for the club? You mean? You got me excited. I was like, oh, there's our transfer signing right there.
Those are the good days of Chelsea. Yeah. Oh, man. Gene Mota. Sorry. It's just like it's very similar. It's one letter off. But so it felt like forever. And everyone's like, we only score in the end. And like, you're not wrong. Since June, right? We only had 2 games in June, but since June, I guess after May, you could say, Inter Miami has scored 7 goals. This is prior to the Cincinnati game, right? So from June to the Cincinnati game, 7 goals. And basically all of them were in the second half, right? We're talking about 7 games of scoring goals only in the second half. 5 out of 7 of these goals were after the 82nd minute. Fast forward to the Cincinnati game. And then, of course, the San Jose game. And now we have 4 goals in the first half, which was great. Again, Mota, earliest goal in the season at 12, kind of embarrassing, but whatever, we'll take it. So of our 27 goals we've scored this season, this is actually surprisingly balanced. Given all that time, it felt like we only come back at the end. Of our 27 goals scored, 14 were scored in the second half. So just slightly over 50% of our games. Very balanced, and you can feel pretty good about that on paper. But the recent results, you can start to feel good about that in reality as well. But it just feels like it had been so long since we scored in the first half. And so just to break this down even longer, this is goals all throughout the season. Goals within the first 15 minutes, we have 1 goal. That's the Mota goal. Goals between the 15th to 30th minute, 7 goals. Goals between, 31 to 45th minute, 5 goals. Okay, from the 45th minute to the 60th minute, 3 goals. From the 60th minute to the 75th minute, 3 goals. 75 to 90 or more, right? 90 and added time, 8 goals. So the majority of our goals do lie at the very end of games. But I think it was just that long drought of early goals that made it seem like we only score in the second half. But take a step back, and it's actually pretty balanced, which is actually kind of refreshing. We just need to find that good mix of scoring early and late goals. More importantly, we need to learn how to kill off games. Our back line needs to really get it together. It's been better this season, but man, that Cincinnati game just brought me horrible flashbacks from the previous 2 seasons. But anyway, that pretty much brings us up to speed. So we'll get into the Montreal game first. But of course, tell us about the power rankings, buddy.
All right, man. So we actually, believe it or not, we moved up 2 spots. Look at that. We're flying high. What Michael Scott say, you'll never know how high I can fly. That's, so we're at 20th. We are currently behind Vancouver, Chicago, and Revs, who are in the 19th, 18th, and 17th spot, respectively. And we are ahead of Charlotte, Colorado, and Toronto, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, respectively. So not too bad. 2-spot jump up after the win against San Jose. We'll see how far we jump or fall after this weekend, but guarantee if we lose, we end up somehow dropping 6 or 7 spots. What do you think about the power rankings?
I mean, so we are currently 8th. I would have to assume these power rankings came out prior to last night's game.
Yeah, they did.
I would hope so. Okay. Because of this current standing, we're ahead of Chicago. We're ahead of New England. We're higher ranked in our conference than Vancouver is. So I would hope to see some adjustments. Maybe, just maybe, we can get out of that. Like, what did I say? The Rangers like 18 to 25. Just maybe on our playoff run, we like crack top 15. We'll see. But after, I'm gonna have to ignore the fact that this game was played against San Jose and going off the Cincinnati game after what felt to be losing that game 3 times in the same game. Yeah. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. I mean, for what we're doing right now, I can't say that I don't disagree with you. I would like to see if we come out this week with 6 points. I'd like to see a little at the same time. I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. And so Eastern Conference wise, give us a breakdown there.
All right, so we are currently in 8th with 29 points, and I need you all to listen very carefully because this is how close the Eastern Conference is right now. All right, so the Eastern Conference rankings, I mean, the San Jose game really helped us catch up to everybody else. Columbus and New York City are currently the only ones that have not played 23 games. But these points were critical. And as I'm going through this, please just listen at how close this is. It really shows how critical these points are going to be coming up. So we are currently sitting in 8th place with 29 points. We are currently behind Charlotte. We're actually tied with Charlotte on points. We were behind them in the standing. Charlotte sits in 7th with 29. They have 1 more win than we do. Columbus is in 6th with 30. They have played 1 less game like we discussed, and Orlando is in 5th with 30, but they have 1 more win than Columbus. Depending on how that plays out for Columbus upcoming, they could easily be in the 5th spot. Looking at who we are ahead, we are currently tied on points with Cincinnati, but because they have 1 less win than us, they are in 9th place. Chicago is in 10th with 27, and the Revs are in 11th with 27, and they have played 1 less. So like I already said, it's going to be tight. We've really got to tighten down the screws, batten down the hatches, and secure 3 points whenever we can up to this point. You know what I mean?
9 points separate last place DC from 5th place Orlando. 5 points separate 12th place Atlanta from 5th place Orlando. So it is all bunched up. These games are crucial. This month is crucial. It's not going to get any easier because after San Jose, we're playing Montreal. They're in third. We're playing NYCFC, who's obviously quite talented without Tati the second time around, but they're in second place. Then we're going against Toronto, which is basically the 2020 Euro winning Italian team now in Toronto. Then we get Red Bulls, up in Red Bulls, which you will be at that game, I believe. And then we're going to get Columbus in Columbus. So pretty crucial month, and competition is up there. It's going to be difficult. Another gauntlet. But as far as Supporters Shield goes, where are we right now in the Supporters Shield standings?
Currently sitting at 17th. I mean, pretty much same group of cast below us and above us. We are currently behind Charlotte, Columbus, and Orlando, who sit in 16th, 15th, and 14th, respectively. And we are ahead of Cincinnati, Colorado, and Chicago, who sit in 18th, 19th, and 20th, respectively.
So pretty fair, right? And pretty fair just based off the standings. Nothing really thrown anyone by surprise. Now, we did have a significant jump in our playoff chances with the 3 points we got in San Jose. So where are you right now as far as playoff chances, predictions go?
So the prediction provided by 538 Sports is at 34% as of when I did these notes up earlier this afternoon. So again, depending on when you listen to this, it could change. If you're listening to it after the Montreal game, it could go either way. But
and we were like 20% prior to the San Jose game, right?
I want to say 23, so we jumped up 11%, which is pretty decent.
Very good. And you've already mentioned it. I think we've mentioned it a few times. We're going up to Oh Canada, the land of poutine and high alcohol content beers, baby. A Labatt Blue, a Molson. You probably know much more about those Canadian beers than I do, but I do love gravy. I do love poutine. But we're going up to Montreal. And kind of new segment, which I thoroughly do enjoy, is the history of the club we're playing. So what is the history of the fairly newly rebranded Club de Foot?
Well, I'm going to stop you right there because they were rebranded on the rebrand already. They are CF Montreal because they can't get their names right. They currently play in Stade Saputo. We're going to be playing them on the 6th at 7:30. The history, they are actually a pretty long-standing team. Been around since 1993. They played in such high-standing leagues, and I know you're really excited for this, Jay. The United Soccer League, the NASL, and the second tier of the league I've never heard of, the American Soccer Pyramid, until 2011. So
is that a league?
That.
I thought that was like just what you referred to the whole.
So I triple checked myself, and that's how they had it on the
all right.
Montreal site. It was the American Soccer Pyramid. So I was like, okay, whatever. In 2011, they were officially approved as an expansion team. 2012, they had their inaugural season. 2021, as Jay kindly mentioned, they were rebranded as Club de Foot Montreal, and now they are rebranded once again because the supporters thought it was sucky, and they are now rebranded as CF Montreal.
I do agree with it kind of being a sucky name. I also props to your Canadian pronunciation, Montreal. That T is basically silent. And you probably love Quebec too. Quebec.
I do not love Quebec. I do not love Quebec. But Montreal is one of my favorite cities up in Canada. I've spent a lot of time up there as a kid. But they play in Saputo Stadium, and they also play at the Olympic Stadium, depending on what's going on. Their nicknames, Léon Pact and Le CFMTL. See, I had to stop myself because I was about to go into the French letters right there. Did not want to throw you off. In terms of trophies won, they are 11-time Voyager Cup winners, which is the domestic award in Canada awarded to the best team for both men and women in Canada. I want to say, and I should have written this down here, but it was like 2002 to 2009. They were like uncontested. It was like Alabama football up there for football in Canada. They were just winning it left and right. They are also 2-time Canadian championship winners. all-time series versus us. It's they pipped us by 1 game. It's 2 wins for Montreal, 0 draws, 1 win for us, with a current run of form of 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. They are coming in hot. They are looking pretty good.
Who are we watching? What stars should we focus on?
I mean, if you're any fan of the MLS, you're going to know the name Kai Kamara. I mean, I think he just moved into 3rd all-time goals scored league, like in
behind
the league.
Wondolowski and Landon Donovan, which like Wando had like 173 goals. That's absolutely just incredible. So congrats to Kai. Yeah, obviously you said it right.
Yes.
If you know the league, you know him. But also our boy Georgie, man. Our boy Georgie. I wish I knew the it lines about Georgie because we could have played that, but I just can't think of them right now off the top of my head.
It's okay. And they also have Wanyama. And this is actually one of the players I started following this year because I love how he plays, Mihajovic, up in the midfield for them.
That's Georgie.
I can never say his name right. I know I can never say his name
anyone's
right.
name right. It's okay.
I mean, I can barely say my own name right.
You say Reynoso.
Listen, do you want to get into this right now?
I will test you on your Spanish speaking skills, not your French speaking skills. Although Mihailovic certainly isn't Spanish nor French.
So this might be the second most interesting Inter Miami dispute this week. Anyways, so Jay, what are we talking? Match predictions. What do you think?
Given the situation and both strikers being injured, not knowing if Sean Hundal is on a flight right now or what Coco's status is, I'm going 2-1. That seems to be my safe bet. 2-1. I feel like we get good results when I say that, so I'm going with that.
2-1 Montreal?
Yeah, 2-1 Montreal.
Montreal. There you go. I'm going to go, knowing that Gonzalo doesn't have a concussion, I don't. I think I read earlier it's not as serious as everybody was originally thinking. I'm going to go 2-1 Inter Miami. I think we're going to split this one. I'm going to say we're going to go up there. We're going to put the benefit of sitting where we're at and our injury report is the fact that teams tend to underestimate us. And so I'm going to say we sneak out a 2-1. One of these times I'm going to be right. It's going to be a 2-1 winner, Drake Calendar bicycle. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. You heard it here first. I hope you're right, dude. These points would be crucial. But, yeah, I don't know. After they said that Gonzalo's got to get x-rays on his jaw, I'm definitely not feeling the warm and fuzzies. But that game is coming up. That will be on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. So back to the comfortable time zone here. But, yeah, I mean, still a tough opponent. Outside of this game, though, what other games are you going to be watching this weekend?
Definitely going to be keeping an eye on Cinci versus Philly. I mean, it's Cinci's 3-headed monster in attack versus Philly's stalwart defense. If you can't get behind a matchup like that, I mean, what are you doing watching the sport? And then Portland versus Dallas, and this one's kind of I don't necessarily like watching Dallas, and I can't give you an honest good reason why I don't. I just never was attracted to their brand of football. But Portland's looking to bounce back. They're coming in with a few draws, a couple wins. Like it looks like from they're rebounding from their floundering form. And Dallas is currently all over the map. Plus, I mean, I like Portland's kids. We're going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you there. This series is always a good series to watch. Portland has 12 wins in the series. Dallas has 11s, and there's been 7 draws. So it's not like a blowout one way or another. It's just going to be a good classic game of MLS football with 2 of the oldest teams in the league. What games have caught your fancy this week?
So what I'll be watching Orlando and the New England Revs just because Orlando's above us, New England's right around us, right below us in the standings right now. So those are going to be pretty crucial games, I think, to the actual outcome of the season here. But outside of that, going to be interested to see Toronto and this new team they have go against Nashville. I think this is probably the real test that they're going to see, or I guess the greatest test they're going to see since getting Cinci and Bernadeschi, of course. So those be the ones I'm watching. Although, like, there's just, I don't know. Like, a lot of these other games don't really excite me. I mean, you already mentioned, like, the Cincy Philly game should be pretty good. Outside of that, probably like Charlotte, Chicago. I want to show some love to the Western Conference, but now that we're so compact on the Eastern, like, I'm going to be watching most of these games that are around us just because we need as many draws as we can get at this point.
I think for me, I got to stop copping out and picking the Philly matches because I know they're going to be on TV. Mm-hmm. But I mean, to be fair, the defense that they have is phenomenal. It's, if you're playing fantasy, you know, you're picking Philly's defense almost every week. But Jay, who is the player of the month for July in the MLS? Ooh. I can't pronounce anybody's name right. I'm going to let you have this one.
Gonzalo. Oh no, sorry. That was Sebastian Drisi. You said for the month, right?
Yeah, for the month.
Okay. Did we already cover the fact? No, we didn't cover that because we didn't do an episode after Cincinnati game. But all right, shout out Gonzalo real quick for being the MLS Team of the Week, having the MLS Goal of the Week, and being the MLS Player of the Week. But it goes to Sebastian Drisi, and it's hard to hate on Austin because they're doing so much right, and I'm obviously do love Matthew McConaughey, but that would be your Player of the Month right there, Sebastian Drisi.
Yeah, I mean, well deserved. He's always a fun one to watch. I don't know why I said it before. I always find myself watching midfield play. I know there's a lot of love for attackers, but I don't know. I love a good, you know, like I want to see a midfielder like a world superstar like Bruno Fernandes, not like that Jorginho bum that plays on your side. Why
can't you pronounce names right? You know damn well it's Bruno Fernandes.
Dude. I can't wait until FIFA 23 comes out and they fix that. Fernandes. All right. So moving forward, can we talk about another shocking collapse by the Red Bull? Like, what is happening over there? Like, we were just talking about, and I personally just said that the Red Bull Austin game was signifying to the league that the Red Bulls were going to come out and make a statement, and then they get piss pounded against Orlando, and then we saw our boy Lewis score. I was like, okay, cool. Then he had an assist. I'm like, okay, cool. And then Colorado,
Colorado,
like ripped off 5,
draws it up and goes ahead in like a 3-minute span. Yeah, that's a crazy.
Yeah,
that's after like there were like 3-4 games the week before. Like this past like 10 days of MLS has been just insane, like goals being scored everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, what I was going to say before you went and stole my thunder on the next topic was the killer is that the Red Bull scored one at the death, and it was called back due to slightly being offsides. So, I don't know. But to get to your topic that you already kind of started discussing, we've had 6-0, we've had 4-4s, we've had 5-4s, we've had, what is going on in the MLS right now? Are we seeing an offensive explosion? Are we seeing teams at their forms? Or are we seeing defenses wavering as the season pressed forward? What do you think?
I don't know. Is it just like the hectic schedules of some midweek games and maybe people being tired? I don't know. It's strange. It's great for anyone who does love the sport, especially if you're neutral. I'm here for it. The more goals, the better. I'm good with it. I don't know what the reason is per se, but let's keep it up. I would love to see Inter Miami keep scoring 3-4 goals in a game because it's very rare we can score more than one. But yeah, and then outside of that, before we get into kind of more, I guess, news related around the team, just quick update of what's kind of gone on. And I probably am not even gonna be able to cover this to the extent I want to, but Charlotte FC are finalizing the acquisition of Portugal Youth International midfielder Nuno Santos from Benfica. It's going to be a TAM deal. A lot of moves have been happening today, just nothing really in Miami related. Oh, you would butcher this name. I don't even know how I'm going to do this. Dennis Boanga is going to LAFC. He's from Saint Etienne. That's going to be a $5 million deal right there. He's 27 years old. He looks like he's going to be probably their DP attacker. They've been looking to fill. Kyle Duncan is going to be returning to the New York Red Bulls after spending a year in Belgium. Other random news, Seattle is interested in Luis Suarez and might be able to get him in the winter window. Strange.
So I actually, I'm sorry not to cut you off. I actually heard that they were close, depending on what you listen to on Twitter, but the Pole Nacional was too much for him. And they said, well, hey, we'll revisit this in the winter time because it's only a partial contract for him to go back. So
if I'm not mistaken, Nacional is like his boyhood club, right?
Yeah. Like where he went before he made a critical mistake and went off to Liverpool. So, I mean, it could be just another episode after episode after episode of Luis Suarez speculations in the wintertime.
Well, it could be right. He's coming into Miami. But moving forward, Vancouver waived Eric Godoy, which was a pretty interesting move. He's actually cleared waivers already, so keep an eye on that. Maybe Inter Miami wants to swoop him up just for some depth. Montreal just acquired Chinoso Afor from the Chicago Fire for $325,000 in GAM. He's only 22. He's just down on the depth chart, it looks like. And then, of course, Clement Diop. There's probably some others I missed, rather. But that's basically a quick recap of what's happened on the last day, the last day of the transfer window.
So what you meant to say was much ado about nothing, really, because it was really kind of Gareth Bale and then nothing really after that. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have, and that's one thing I would love to see the MLS. And there's not really a good way for them to position it or do better with it. But like the EPL, like we're talking about the transfer window for like months. Like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, this player is looking to go here, here, and here. Even during the season, like when the season's moving for the MLS, like there's hardly any transfer talk. You know what I mean? Like, and I know maybe I'm not even saying it right. Maybe I'm not conveying what I'm trying to say right. But like, I would love for the hype to be there.
Yeah.
Just have the hype.
Yeah.
Have the hype be there. So I don't know. But let's
keep checking my phone, man. I'm just hoping like a notification pops up like, hey, Inter Miami just did this. Like we let Diop go. Let's make a move. Let's have some fun. I get like, maybe there's not a lot of players that are on our list that we're after, and we're obviously still dealing with sanctions, but I just wanted one more.
I mean, earlier in the week we were linked to Lewis Lorgan again. So
Lewis Lorgan,
one of these days it might happen. We got to get Lewis here eventually.
the Scottish multiverse rather is it's out there.
Yeah, he pops out with Doctor Strange. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
I love his mom,
Miami
by the
too.
way. Veronica Vorgan. She's really sweet.
Oh, yeah.
She's really sweet.
Yeah, very, very, very. No, we need some Lorgans in our life here. All right, moving on. Inter Miami 2 beat FC Cincinnati 2 on penalties. It's that weird scoring in the MLS Next Pro. So they finished as a tie, but they gained an extra point on the penalty win. So I think they walked away with 2 points from that game instead of the 1. Reyes scored off an absolute beautiful Noah Allen cross. Just slotted it past the keeper. It was beautiful build-up play. If you haven't seen the goal, we posted the highlights on our Instagram page. Check it out. Quinteros making a name for himself, made a tackle in the dying moments to prevent Cincinnati from stealing all 3 points. And Romeo and the crew came up, hit up their penalties. And Dos Santos had a critical save in the last second of the penalty shootout to preserve the 2 points for the good guys. Next match is August 7th against New England Revolution 2 at Drive Pink Stadium, 6 p.m. Check it out.
There we go. All right, buddy. Are you ready to bring us home? I know you are fighting your tired eyelids right now. Been up since 1 a.m. just saving the world. We're almost there, buddy. Bring us home with your moment to shine. Your spread eagle spread shot. Talk about OnlyThans.
Listen, I have been tasked to make sure that these questions get in here by certain individuals, so I'm going to make you answer more than you normally do here. All right?
Alrighty.
Jay, first question.
Let's go.
Based on last night, And yeah, based on last night, are we ready for the playoffs?
No. We got a little bit more work to do and some injuries to clear. It's short and sweet there.
If we had to go to the playoffs tomorrow, I could see Phil ushering Emerson down to another bus. But yeah, we'll be right down here. And just peeling out. And then Blaze comes out of the shadows and like, hey kid, first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's get Blaze back in the squad here. Yeah, it's the good thing is we won. We got 3 points. If we lost that game, we'd be furious right now because so many chances missed.
Yeah, no, I agree that it would not be the lighthearted mood that we are currently in. Jay, do you think we have any potential defensive targets for the upcoming transfer window?
Oh dear, for the winter window?
Yeah, I mean, because by the time this question was asked, I'm assuming it was for this window. I'm going to put a little spice on it and put it towards the upcoming window. Do you think we look at anybody in particular or try to solidify some depth in any particular spot?
I mean, who we look for, I mean, I don't even know who's going to be available. That's going to require a deep dive of seeing what, I don't know what teams are open to trading who. I don't know any contracts that are ending, anything like that. I will say that news of Godoy being waived and clearing waivers, I would say if we're going to make a move before 11:59 tonight, take a shot. Hit Eric Godoy with a contract to finish out the season. We'll reassess in the winter window. Outside of that, I mean, I would love to get a Walker Zimmerman or a Callens or, something like that. But that would require a little bit more research on my part.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I admittedly was not prepared for that because when I originally put the question down, like I said, it was supposed to be for tonight. Again, if we could get somebody like you said, I'm going to piggyback off yours, a Walker Zimmerman. I know he's kind of fallen into, and I don't want to say obscurity because that's not right, but when you think of defensive players in the league right now, Walker Zimmerman's not one of the first ones that comes to my mind, even though I will totally use him as a low-cost defender if I need somebody for fantasy. I do think we could benefit by having somebody like him here. Mm-hmm. Might not be bad. We also really need to, in my mind, shore up that left back spot.
Yeah,
really got to get after that.
Yeah, so, I would. That's exactly. I actually I would say get Godoy where you can, but yeah, my main focus, I will agree with you 1,000%, is we need to identify and secure a solid left back. That is a must have right now. We finally got our Cam, which was the most pressing issue. We got another attacking option in Coco Jean. We'll see exactly what happens with that. But yeah, main focus should be that left back. Very good points there.
Yeah. And I got to be honest with you, that is pretty much all I had. I just wanted to kind of get you wound up to answer a bunch of questions from our rowdy fan base.
I was expecting more. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I know. But I do want to plug a quick shout out to our boy Johnny. He has been on fire with the graphics this week. If you have not seen, go check out the Inter Miami podcast, Not a Cult post that we put up. It is also going to be a sticker on Bubble. We are looking pretty good. You're looking like a bad guy from that Far Cry game, dude.
Yeah, man. I like it. I like it. I think I was saying it's not a cult, it's just a podcast, but I think Johnny tagged it with more than a podcast, less than a cult. Yeah, I've already got stickers ordered, so yeah, it's gonna be great. I like that. It's fun. It's more fun you're kind of like a closet nerd like me, right? We're aware, even if we don't play the video games, we're aware of them and the artwork. So that's a pretty well known piece of artwork for a video game there, and just what he did with it was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, shout out to Johnny. He's been killing it. Also on other social medias, check out his Instagram or check out the Facebook group. He's been having some fun this week. It's been good, man. That's all I'm going to speak on. It's been very good, but yeah, man. Outside of that, man, just look forward to this game. This episode will drop Friday. Hopefully by the time you listen to this, maybe Chris Henderson made some magic work and some news hits your phone or computer this AM about a new acquisition. But, of course, as always, man, check us out on Twitter at InterMIA Podcast or Instagram at InterMiami Podcast. As always, shout out La Familia. Shout out all the supporters groups. We love you so much. You're the best in the league. I'll say it every damn day. Also, shout out to our awesome and continuously growing Discord community. Nonstop banner. It's fun at all hours of the day. Always going. And it's just sub channels keep adding. You can talk about anything you want in there.
Yeah, it's definitely a place to be if you want to discuss Inter Miami college football. You want to talk about nerd stuff. You want to talk about anything. It's all good. But anyways, vamos.
Vamos, Miami.